Hello, survivors. It's Brian Hazard, your eager explorer of all games narrative. And today we're going to return to the Outcast for our third session. So, where we had left off, we had just been imbued with power from the wind spirits, and our whole allegiance changed actually to deciding that we really needed to help complete the awakening of what others are calling the Ruination, because we learned some things in the last scene that just changed our minds. So, what's interesting about this is, as a reminder, this game, The Outcast, that we're playing, is about reputation and redemption. And I think that what we're doing has the risk of actually making our reputation even worse and making redemption even less likely. So, I think our new goal at this point is actually to expose the kingdom for their hypocrisy and the way that they've been playing the people of this world. That is our hope for redemption, is that we'll be the harbingers of a new era of truth and light. So let's see what happens. We've sailed with the power of wind at our back all the way around this peninsula and are arriving at Hopehall. And now we want to take a look here at framing a scene. So where are we? We're in the water just outside of Hopehall. Who is here with me? Ednis, the cultist, who is a worshiper of Ruination, but she's misguided and believes that human sacrifice is something that would be desired by this awakened god. What do we want here? Well, we want to complete the awakening of Ruination. What is stopping us from getting it? The king's army is headed towards Hopehall to complete the destruction of this ruin and prevent the full reawakening of Ruination. And how can we get what we want? The wind spirit said that Ruination is powerful and can kind of do it himself. So I think primarily our goal is to stave off the king's army. I don't know exactly how far from Hopehall the king's army is. So I think that would be something that would be a good candidate for an oracle. And luckily we have Oracle 2 here, which is an intensity oracle. And we roll a single die and we interpret. So the higher the value of the die, the closer. The higher, the closer. Okay. So how close is the king's army? And we got a 5. So they are close. Their arrival is imminent. Whew. That's not good. So I'm going to, in that case, add a new NPC. So let's see. I'm going to do the ruler. I think I'm going to represent this with Stayark. So that'll be our king, Stayark. And he's pretty much at Hopehall now. Maybe they're coming by way of the river. And we're also going to add his general, which will be a warrior. Brogan is the warrior. And of course, he's guiding a full army. And they're coming up the river on a boat headed towards Hopehall. We've just docked at Hopehall. So modifying the framing of the scene a little bit, we're going to say that we're just outside of Hopehall in the hills, and we can see the army coming on a series of boats upriver towards Hopehall, and we need to stop them. Elyd is not really a warrior, so what we're going to say is that he's going to attempt diplomacy, right? He's a devout religious person, and even though his beliefs have shifted dramatically, it's still core to who he is. So he's going to attempt diplomacy. And so we're going to do some warm-up rolls here. So he approaches Brogan. Let's do a scene in the Augur. Oh, this is perfect. It's like it knew what I was doing. That's so cool. Perfect. We're going to call this Outside Hopehall. Perfect. It's going to be right here. And open the map. So then we're going to go to our NPCs and we're going to grab our Stayark and Brogan. And we're going to grab, let's also grab Ednis, our cultist, who will be sort of standing by. And of course, Elyd. It is an honor to speak to the king's men. You, I understand, are the general of the king's army? Brogan says, That is so. What say you? Why do you stand in our way? And Elyd says, I've come with a very important goal to ask you to give the town folk time to evacuate before starting your siege on the ruins. So I think Elyd's going for an approach of just stalling tactics before he attempts to engage in anything more drastic. Brogan says, Our mission is of utmost importance. We have no time to stall. We must enter hopehall now to deal with this catastrophe. Had you heard that this was all caused by some stupid follower of Pogwat? Elyd, of course, knows he's referring to him, but hopes he doesn't actually know that this was a very direct insult to him. And he says, I hadn't heard that. Attempting to earn some goodwill, he says, but of course I believe it. Sir, I beg of you, if we could simply have a day, just a day, to get all of the innocents out of the town before your military arrives, it would avoid a lot of pain and suffering. So I wonder if this goes over well. We're going to roll a warm-up roll here, and what do we get, a 4 and a 1? So yeah, he says, one day. I suppose it's possible that we could grant a single day, but where shall we camp? Elyd looks around. They're standing in a field, and he says, I mean, why not here? And so Brogan looks around, and let's see, does he accept that? He does. So he says, all right, if you'll go to the town and gather some provisions, enough to feed a full battlement of men, and also assist in setting up camp, then we will give you a day. So Elyd walks back over to Edness, and he says, good news, I've bought us a day. And she says, a day? A day's not enough. We'll need 3 full days at least. Elyd says, I was certain I wouldn't be able to buy more than a single day. This gives us time to come up with another plan. And let's see, does Edness accept that, or does she do something rash? I'm going to roll here. And she does accept it. Wow, this scene is low on conflict so far. She says, you're right. A day gives us time to plan. That is a victory, and not a small one. Thank you, Elyd. And let's see, at this point, does anything bad go wrong? We're going to go with, if the left die is higher, then yes, and if not, then no. Nothing goes wrong. Okay, so I think nothing's going wrong here. I'm not having much conflict. The scene seems pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and do a scene resolution roll to see if, we're able to successfully gather the provisions for the army and help them set up camp, and we'll go from there. So let's roll, and this is a scene resolution roll. So we got a 2-6. So that's definitely not going to be good. Let's go to the player sheet here. And I'm determined to stop Pogwatist persecution. Now, how does this make sense narratively? So, he goes back to town, and, man, I think I'm going to approach this differently, actually. I am not going to spend that, and instead, I'm going to take the bad result. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I can't really think of a good justification for how I would have used that edge. So let's see. That's the final scene. Let's come here. So it was 6-2, or rather 2-6, which actually isn't that bad. Yeah, we have to add a snag. So we have to add a snag, and we've got progress. Yeah, so that's not too bad. Let's do that. All right, so we make some progress, and we add a snag. So what's the snag that we're gonna add? Well, I'm gonna do an oracle roll and a snag generator roll. So these are tools that the game has provided. I almost forgot that I had them. So first I'm gonna do an oracle roll, and we get a 4 and a 4. Interesting. Illusion, a 1 and a 4. Illusion air. Ooh, that's interesting. And snag. We're gonna roll 6-5. Condition: surprise, frighten, undermine, intimidate, discourage, weaken, impress. Okay. Illusion air. I think that the snag is going to be that something to do with the wind spirits. Illusion, something to do with illusion. Okay. I think that my appearance is changing visibly. All right. My appearance, instead of just changing visibly, my appearance is becoming intimidating. So the power that the wind spirits have bestowed upon me is starting to manifest in some externally visible way. And my appearance is becoming more visible, more intimidating visibly. And so to reflect that, just for fun, we're going to make a change to my character. Let's make a change. What could it be? So perhaps actually, if I just do I think perhaps my robes are just darkening and my hair is turning to another color. And you know what? I feel like symbolically it makes sense that I'm sprouting wings because why the hell not? So there we go. I have become a very different person. Strange. Okay. So now this is quite a snag because I can't exactly just try to play off that I'm a regular person. All right. So I think that presents an interesting problem, which is that I can't actually return to help them set up camp like I promised to. So I had to send Ednis to do it herself. And I'm going to guess that something probably goes wrong with that. So one interesting thing is I think we're playing towards the final scene here. So I think that's where we'll stop for now. And if we go back out to the world map, then we can see that I think the final battle, because I think there's going to be a battle, is going to happen inside of Hopehall. And I think we'll just say that the ruin is back. Ooh, this looks good. Way up at the edge. That's the ruin. Cool. All right. So when we return to play, I think it's probably going to be the final scene, which is that they didn't get a camp, so perhaps we don't get the delay that we need. So it heads into sort of a battle situation, and we'll see what happens. See you in the next session.